Hi and welcome. In today's video, we're going to take a look at how we can easily create and use layers in InDesign. As you can see, every new document comes with a default layer, which is normally labeled layer 1. So that's the starting point. So anything we create right here, for example, I create, say, a box. Let me just fill it with a color. Let me give it a blue. Show the layer. So if anything I create right here, if I have text and I type anything, you see that everything shows on this single layer. So if I select it, you can see the color which shows, and it highlights that I am currently working on this layer. So that's the layer that comes by default. So anything I create, if I don't create any layer by myself, everything I create, if I bring in images, if I type text, if I import charts, everything will be laid on this layer 1. To create a new layer is very easy, so that there are quite a number of ways. If I click right here, if I click on new layer, it brings up a dialog box. I can give it a name. In this case, let me just give it a name, text, and I can give it whatever color. This just serves to differentiate, the different layers from each other. So I could give it tan, and you notice that the color shows out here. I could create a new layer by clicking on this create new layer icon. But if you notice, when I clicked on the new layer icon, it just created the layer without giving me the option of the dialog box. So I have to hold down my Alt key, then click on the new layer icon, and the dialog box shows. So in this case, I want to call this maybe object or image or whatever. You can name it whatever you want. But basically, when I name layers, I name it to correspond to whatever will be on that on that layer. For example, if I have text that I want to create a layer for, I create that layer and call it text. If I have illustrations or images, I call that layer illustrations or images, and so on and so forth. So once I create that, I click OK. So it's as easy as that. I've created the 2 layers, and we're ready to use it. So in this case, I have this text. So let me just clear this text out, and I right click, I fill with placeholder text, just to give me an idea of what I'm working on. So let me move this up. To move the item from this layer to my text layer, so what I just do, I make sure that the text frame is selected. I just click on this box, color box, and move upwards, and you see that the layer has been moved. The text layer has been moved. So in this case, I have this. Assuming this is say an image or an illustration, I want to move it to this object layer. I just make sure that is selected, and I click and I drag to that layer, and it is moved to that layer. And if you notice, it was not the layer that moved, it was the object or the item that moved to that new layer. Now if I want to move the layers instead, not just the object, but the layers and the object, so let's move this down here. If you notice that this is covering up this text, if I want say the object or image layers to be behind the text or always under the text, what I just do, I don't have to select. In this case, I don't have to select anything. I just come here, drag, and bring it under the layer that I want to move, and you notice that it has moved it. And if you notice, if you check by the right here, you have an arrow. So if I click, it goes on to reveal whatever is on that layer. So let me show you why that happens. If I click on this text layer, let me create another text frame and right click, fill with text. If you take a look at this, you notice that the different text boxes have different layers, which are sub layers in the text layer. So I can easily hide and show the different layers. I can lock it, I can lock it so that nothing, I don't accidentally move it. And this is very helpful, for example, where I have, say, something like so let me just move this, and I say maybe I have this, I'm working on this, and if you take a look at this, if I click what happens is that I'm selecting the text layer. So if I don't want to accidentally select that, I can easily come in, you know, I try to zoom in and select it, you know, very carefully. But instead of doing that, I just lock the text layer and I can easily select that other layer without any issues. So basically, that's how easy it is to create layers. I can actually also name layers that I did not name before. So I could come here, I double click it, and the dialog box shows, and I give it a name. For example, I can call this background. So I have that layer named, and this is that layer. Can come in, select it, just creating a background. I can come in, give it a black, but I want it to be a tint of black. You know, it could be anything. It could be a background or whatever. Go back to my layers. I can lock that so that whenever I'm working on the document, whatever layer I lock is not affected by whatever else I'm doing. So I can come in here, select, I can lock this, can unlock it, I can hide it, you know. So basically, that's how easy it is to create and use layers in InDesign. And remember, the benefits of using layers in InDesign is that it helps you in organizing your documents. Other things you can do with layers include, let's just check it out. You can duplicate a layer, you can delete a layer, you know, like we said, you can hide a layer, you can, you know, lock, you know, you can delete unused layers and so on. So to create duplicate a layer, basically you just make sure that the layer is selected, and I go to the hamburger icon, I click on duplicate a layer, and it duplicates it and it gives it a name, text, copy. Or I can also drag and place in this new layer icon, and I release, and it creates it. So whenever you create using a particular layer, it just gives it the same name and, you know, gives it the option of copy. So depending on how many you create, it just keeps giving it object copy, copy 2, copy 3, and so on. So anytime I'm not using a layer, for example, I don't need this layer 2 and 3, I can just select it, click on the delete selected layers, and it will normally bring out this dialog box which says the layer contains one or more objects, delete the layer anyway. Yes. I can also drag and, you know, place it in the dustbin, or I could just right click and delete, and its same dialog box appears. So those are the things you can do with you know, your layers in InDesign. So that brings us to the end of this tutorial. I hope it has been helpful in some way. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe, because every week I bring you new tutorials. Do take care, and catch you in the next one.